Hello and welcome to episode 40 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. I hope you're having a great Monday if you're listening to this on Monday. And as we're heading into the summer, I've got so many fun things prepared for you guys. And I also wanted to give you a heads up that starting in June, I'm going to be doing 3 interviews instead of 2 for June, July, and August for those summer months because I've just have a backlog of so many great interviews and I want to get them out to you sooner. And then also it gives me a little bit of a break for planning episodes for in between. And so it gives me a little bit of a summer. So I have some great interviews in store for you. So you're going to want to stick around for that. And today we have another great one with Alexis Peters. And before I introduce you to her, get into her bio, I wanted to remind you that we have those downloads for you, and you can find the links to those in the show notes. If you're interested in the career, you're definitely going to want to get these downloads and get that information. And then I also have my design mentor is accepting membership right now, and you'll want to get in there and join the community and talk with me directly to learn about the career as I help you get on your feet as an interior designer. And it's so much fun. I really enjoy doing that. So I'd love to see you in there, my design mentor. You can find a link for that in the show notes as well. All right, a little bit about Alexis Peters. As an independent feature film production designer, she had a fraction of what Hollywood films shell out for blockbusters. By working with an extremely limited budget, she learned how to get from ho-hum to gorgeous on a shoestring. Desiring to help people and believing this can be achieved from beginning in the home, she started her own styling business and solved the one problem we all have with our homes. How can we live beautifully and affordably? So I thought this was a great conversation with Alexis. Really fun perspective coming from the production design industry. And so let's hear from Alexis. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Hi, Alexis. Thank you for being on Design Curious Podcast today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I've been really enjoying reading your profile and looking at your website. For our audience, why don't you tell them what you do and where you work from?
I'm an interior designer and I specialize in virtual interior design. So I'm located in Nashville and I have local clients. So I have local clients and then I also specialize in virtual. So I do both.
Okay, great. And then I see before you were an interior designer, you did video production and you were a production designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how did you get into that?
Yeah, I've had an interesting journey. So ever since I was little, I was really drawn to film and actually more specifically acting. But I think I got a little confused because I was so young. It took me a bit to fall into my own and to learn who I was and to learn what I wanted and to really learn what mattered to me on the inside. And I think that for me had to come with kind of doing a bunch of things incorrectly. And then finally one day, waking up being like, that voice inside that's been bugging me since I was a child, that's the voice I'm going to start to listen to. So before I had that wake up call, essentially, I thought I wanted to be an actress. So I did, so I was doing features. I was in movies. I was auditioning. I was a waitress. I had no money. I was doing all of that. And then I would do a film and then I was doing movies infrequently and then towards the end a little more frequently. And while I was auditioning and acting and doing some plays, and I went to acting school too, and I did all that stuff, I would always design friends' homes. And at that time, I was just renting apartments. I wasn't living the life, okay? I wasn't in like anything bougie at all. I was like a total LA girl, and I just was renting a place. But I always felt and believed that just because I rent doesn't mean I have to live like crap hole.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to have a horrible life. It's not fair. I didn't think that was fair.
Yeah.
So no matter where I lived, I always made my environment stunning, so much so that anyone who came over would be like, what did you do? Where did you buy this? Can I Airbnb this? How do I stay here? How do I live here? I'm like, well, I live
Wow.
here. Here. But I loved it. It was such a compliment for me. But I never believed that I could have a career as a designer. I was like, no, I was just set. I was so in my will, I was so set in my way of like, I have to be an actress. And then so I put that under the rug, but it was always the thing that got me out of bed. I had this roommate once and we were like in bunk beds or something, or I don't even know. And we were just talking and it was like late at night. And she was like, hey, are you thinking about lamps? Because we were both awake. And I was like, how did you know? Because like, we're sitting there in the dark and I'm thinking about lamps. It's the one thing that had me thrilled about my life and enough to get me out of bed and be excited about the day. So I ended up finally starting to listen to that when I got a little older, did more films. And then I became a producer and a writer, and a producer is the one who hires everybody. So when it came time to needing a production designer, who the hell else am I going to hire but myself, obviously? So I was like, I'm going to design this film. And did I know how to production design? No. Did I care? Absolutely not. Was I terrified? Yes. Every second I was like, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. What are the terms? How will I work with the DP? How will I know? What if I totally mess my whole life up and ruin the movie? And of course, nothing like that ever happened. And I ended up getting some nice attention at festivals because my films ended up playing festivals and selling all over the world. So nice. Thank you. Yeah, it was great. I'm so proud of that part of my life. I really stepped into my own. I got real confident at that point. I was like, I was terrified. I did it anyway. I did a good job. Okay. And then I ended up starting my own business, my own design business shortly after production designing my second feature.
Wow. Did you have any coaching or any mentors that pushed you in the direction of doing that production design that was so scary to tackle? Like, that's such a huge hill to get over. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that, get themselves.
It was really scary. I think the director at the time, he was my producing partner, my writing partner, and he directed the 2 films that I wrote and produced with him. And he was my biggest supporter at that time for me as a designer, because he knew all the apartments I've done. He knew what I was capable of. And I would say to him all the scary stuff, all the stuff that's not true, but I didn't. Yeah. I was so afraid. Because at that time I had no training. I ended up getting training in home staging and interior design, and I did that later. But at this time I had no training. I just knew that I liked to make rooms beautiful, and I felt like I was good at it. But so he was just a person. He was just my business partner. He was my sounding board. And he was like, you're talented enough. You're good enough. Look at what you've done here and here. I'm trusting you. As the director, he's saying, I'm trusting you to make this movie amazing. And I know you can, one day at a time, one room at a time. And hearing that was pretty much, that helped.
Yeah. Did you get training then before you started your business, or did you just start your business and then, get your certification as an organizer and all those things afterward?
No, I got all my certifications before I started my business. I wanted to stage homes. So I wanted to get certified in that. I didn't want to just show up and not know what, I wanted to know. I wanted to do it professionally and be able to charge professional rates. And that was the same for interior design too. So I went and I got certified in interior design, home staging, and as a KonMari consultant, which is organizing.
Great. So yeah.
I did the 3. Once I finished those 3, then I started my website.
Okay. So did you offer virtual design right off the bat in your services, or was it more one-on-one?
Yeah, no. At first, and this is what I always tell anyone, and I know your listeners are starting out and are wanting to start out or thinking about starting out, and where does one start? I didn't know either. And the biggest advice that I could say is just do it. Just start. Because I started, the name of my business was Reimagining Spaces with Alexis. Today, it's Home Styling by Alexis. So That's a different name. So, by the way, that's a total nightmare to change. If you can just have the correct name at first, please do that. But if you don't, guess what? My life's not over.
Yeah.
I'm not broke because of it. It wasn't horrible. It was just inconvenient
Yeah.
to change. But I just got a website. I found any guy on Squarespace, and I'm not proficient like with technology, which is funny because I do virtual design, which we can get into later. But I just paid someone on Squarespace. I looked at one thing he did. I have so much advice on what not to do. I also did Marie Forleo's B School. So she has like a 6-week program that essentially is like, in my opinion, equivalent of a master's degree in business, which is what she says. And it's like her big tag. So I learned so much about how to start a business from her. So that was profoundly impactful and helpful for me. But I would say just start. So I started locally and I didn't know what I was doing. And I had no point of view. I didn't know who my audience was. I didn't know who I was speaking to. I didn't know who I'd be designing for. I didn't know my vibe, my tone, my style. I didn't know any of that. I just started a website from a guy on Squarespace and I didn't really get any clients or anything, but it was good. But once I did Marie Forleo's B School and I went, okay, I need to know who my audience is. Who am I designing for? And all of it set in stone. And then I redid it. And now the website that I have today is a direct result of her program. She didn't help. I mean, just taking her courses for 6 weeks. I would say just start, mess it up, do it ugly. Who cares? I didn't die over it. I lost a couple $1,000s, but who doesn't when they start a business?
Yeah. So, there's always investment. Yeah. It's a learning curve. Yeah. So with your messaging now, you are speaking a lot to everybody can have a wonderful home. Like you were talking about earlier, how your apartment always looked great, even though you're just renting. So do you work a lot with renters, or are you looking for first-time home buyers, or just anybody in particular? Like, what is your messaging now?
It's funny. Yeah, no, I have clients all over. I thought, I'm just going to have the renters. And that concerned me because I'm like, well, will they have money for it? So I had that battle. But what I found is that the more I honed in on beautiful and affordable architectural digest on a budget, that my audience finds me. So people that are Googling beautiful and affordable. And you know what? A lot of wealthy people Google that. Okay. So you can just be the broke people. No, it's not actually, So I have a nice, spectrum of different price points that people that find me make different kinds of money, but they have one thing in common. And that is they want affordable and stunning.
Okay. So how do you deliver that to them?
Well, and this is really fun because this is what I really got this from production designing. So now I could pull from the films I've done. And now I can pull from that because as a production designer, I was production designing independent feature films. I'm sure everyone knows, but for anyone unfamiliar, it's smaller budget. Okay. So I didn't have $20 million. So I was not doing films starring Julia Roberts. I was doing films myself, right? I'm going to put myself as the lead as well. So, we were working with smaller money. Right. Yeah. So when you have smaller money, what does one do? How is that possible? So I learned how to do a lot with a very little. And that's kind of my magic. So that's once I was able to production design those films and learn that you don't need the $10,000 couch. Although if you have the money and you can do it, do it. But I'm not saying get the cheapest crap off Amazon and Wayfair. I don't do that either. I read reviews. That's the most important. If you got to see the 5-star, I only do 5-star reviews. That's it. 5-star people that write in, it's comfortable. It's, so it's not about buying crap and making it look pretty because this isn't I don't do print photo shoots. If that was the case, I would probably, but because people have to live in this and a lot of people like to spend quality money on a couch, it's case by case.
Okay. Yeah. So then like with your design, do you source for your clients with trade accounts or do you use mostly then retail sources?
When I work on a home, I usually do an entire house, which is usually 4 to 5 rooms. And when somebody hires me for their home, I give them my trade discount.
Oh, okay. So like with Pottery Barn or those types of places, you just pass on your discount. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Pottery Barn, Art, all of them, every place that works with the trade, but it's only if they're having me design their home. I offer lots of other services. I'll do like a room refresh. I'm not giving them my because it's way smaller. It's quicker. It's only 2 hours of my time. That I don't do. It's
Yeah.
only it. And if they just want consulting hours, I have a lot of people that just have kind of an eye, but they just want a designer to guide them. They don't get my discount. It's the people that have me design their home. They're the ones that get the full discount.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me a little more about the virtual design packages that you do, and how did you come up with the idea to do it virtually?
Yeah, so this is a mistake, right? I think so much magic comes out of just absolute mistake. It was literally like I had no plan for this. I was in California. I was there for a long time, and it was COVID, and I FaceTime with my mother daily. I'm very close with my family. So, and I'm hearing my mom, and she's telling me how much she hates her house. And this is the house I grew up in. So I'm like, I'm like, really? You hate it? But I get it. It's kind of dated. It really needed like a whole new a redo totally. She's like, I hate this room. I hate this room. I was like, all right, mom, here, stand further back because she'd be close up. I'm like, here,
Yeah.
stand out of the shot. Let me see here. Let me see. Do like a wide shot, of the room, and let me see. And then like, well, what if we painted the walls like a hunter green? What if we did that? And what if you're gonna need a different couch because that couch doesn't work? And then I just gave her advice
Mm-hmm.
over FaceTime. And then in a couple weeks, the room was so beautiful and stunning. And I had never gone into that house. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't fly. We're not that was the time when we couldn't fly. So I was in LA. She was in Chicago. And yet her home got completely transformed. And I went and I got full body goosebumps. I was like, this is my business. This is what I need. Not only is it fun and easy and it involves the client, they actually really get this sense of pride in their home of I made this happen. It also makes design affordable and accessible for all people. So you asked me how I kind of hit on that. My price point is affordable
Mm-hmm.
because when someone is receiving virtual design on the other end, they're measuring. I'm telling them what to measure. They're on the other end with the measuring stick and they're taping it up. So I could go over my process too. I'd be happy to share that if you were interested because it really makes it clear. But there's a little bit more work for the client,
Right.
but it's fun, thrilling. I remember, I just have to tell this fun story. I had this man, I designed for a lot of men too, and he was like, I'm really not going to have time for these appointments. And I was like, that's all right. They won't. He was really like not having it. And he ended up having so much fun. He went to London on some work thing and he's texting me from the hotel. Oh my God, did you see these floors? What do you think? Should we do these floors? Should we put floors like this in my house? And like, he just got this just ownership of his home. And I just thought that was a big compliment and really fun
Yeah.
because he got to move forward in his life and now really love his home, and now he has an eye of what he likes and what he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, and loved it. So
Yeah, you introduced him to a new aspect that he didn't even realize he wanted to make time for. So
yeah.
that's really nice that you could give to your clients that way. Yeah, so do explain a little bit more your process, if you don't mind, kind of how you make it work with the clients virtually. Like what kind of follow-up do you do, or what do you require of them?
Yeah, I mean, so virtual, so anyone interested in, I think all designers should offer this. I'm not saying do it only because it's really, I require that like instant gratification too. Like I had a client all day today. I was just at her home in Nashville and we're moving stuff around. I like to stand there and move things around, take pictures. I get the before and afters because getting those from clients is hard.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when they send them, I'm like, what? I cannot put that on my website. So let's pretend you need help in your bedroom, okay? And you don't know what to do. So you find me and you hire me. You prepay, so I'm paid already. I do one room at a time. So we'll start with the primary bedroom. So we start in the
Okay.
primary bedroom and we'll do a consultation there. So we'll do like 15-20 minutes, and this is all on FaceTime or Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever people prefer in terms of ways we can talk to each other now on our
Mm-hmm.
phones. How I
Mm-hmm.
do it. And I'll look at the space, ask them all kinds of questions. What do you do in this room? Or like, how often are you in here? Do you need blackout curtains? Is that important to you? Do you need blah, 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 blah. I ask all the questions.
Yeah.
Is it just you? Is there someone else in here? Is there someone else's style I need to be mindful of? Or what, I get all, do you have an animal? I get all the questions out. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there, I do a design board. So that's
Okay.
just a 2-dimensional straight up design board. It's called PhotoGrid. It's great. So I pay for it, but they have options you can do that are free. So
Okay.
So I use photo grid. I do a beautiful, I add, sometimes, they'll say, I want to keep the bed and I want to keep the bench. I'm like, great. So I'll take a snapshot of that. I'll include that in the board. And then I will introduce a color palette, a style, like a vibe and a tone and a
Mm-hmm.
feel, items that are missing. Like you need end tables, we need art, we need a rug, and they're all inspiration photos. This is just a straight up inspo board. None of it is actually the items, but it's the look. It's the
Okay.
direct look.
Yeah.
Get the board, they're like, oh yeah, I want that board. Or they're like, oh, I don't want yellow, no yellow. I don't know how we forgot to tell you no yellow. We got to get rid of all the yellow or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then I'll do a redo. They get one redo. So
Okay.
then they're like, okay, great. Love it. Let's move forward. Now we measure. So we make an appointment. So for next Friday, okay, next Friday comes, we measure. They have a blue painter's tape and a measuring tape with them based on the board. And I already know if I'm doing the board, I know where everything is going to go. So I'm like, okay, so I want to do an end table. Let's see, how big is the space next to the bed? Will it fit an end table that's 24 inches wide? Or does it have to be a little round one that's 12 inches? Because size matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you get the wrong size, the whole room is ugly.
Yeah.
So it's all about measuring. I measure 3 times. What do they say? Measure twice, cut once. I'm like, yeah, measure 3 times, return never. That's what I say. So we get all the measurements because I don't want my clients having to stand at Kohl's in a return line. Okay.
Yeah.
I have done that many times, and that is zero chance. I don't want that for my clients. So we measure. I'm thinking about a piece of art, 2 pieces of art above your bed, 24 by 36. So they'll tape it up. And then we stand in the room. That meeting is 1 hour. So if you do 10 hours, right? If it's 10 hours for one room, that is one of the hours. Okay. And then a board is about an hour. So now we're about 8 hours. Plus that consultation was maybe like 30. So, that's kind of what I have left. And then after that, then I go to work. And now I send them specific links. So now I go ask them their budget at this point. Now, I don't really care how much people spend. I don't care how much people have or spend. I just need to know. So I know, am I going to our house or am I going to Amazon? I just need to know. Or am I going to our house for one thing and then like maybe one thing at Pottery Barn and then like the rest at Wayfair?
Yeah.
Like, where am I shopping for you?
Yeah.
How can I get creative? So that's why I ask about the money. So I'm mindful of the budget for sure. And then, so I send them based on the money that they can spend in their room. So let's say someone picks $3,500 for furniture and decor. I send them the links that match the exact measurement of their space. They place the order using all the fun codes and all the connect, whatever. Sometimes they got to call someone. Sometimes they got to email. Sometimes they have a straight up code, which I always have to call ahead of time and allow. People are a lot than you think. I've had a client call before, even though I didn't call. I was like, oh, I order from them so much. No, they did not okay it. I had to call. Hi, it's Alexis. I'm approving this purchase. So it's a whole thing. And they call and they make the purchase themselves. And then when the item arrives in the mail, they place it in the space that we have already fleshed out completely.
Yeah.
So they're not confused. I've already held their hand. I've already been available. My goal is to make clients feel like they're my only client, which I don't know. Some might be like, where is she? But I try so hard to I return texts and emails the same day.
Yeah. Okay. And are you as busy as you'd like to be, or do you have too much work or
No, I don't have too much work. I also teach Pilates too, because that's another passion of mine. So and that's another thing for people that are starting. Do I have to only do design? No. I love Pilates. I've been doing Pilates for 15 years. So I'm finally getting certified to do Pilates. So it's like, I think it's possible. I just want to have a life for me. I can only speak for me where I'm doing what I love. I want to fill my cup to the top. So if it's design and Pilates, and that's what it is. And oh, well, you know what I mean? I don't care what people think or what it sounds like or what it looks like. I'm filled. And that's so.
Yeah, you're making it right for you. Yeah. Because everybody's path is different. Everybody's what they get satisfaction from life out of. So I like that. So what other advice do you have for designers starting out on their journey? Do you coach them, or are you available if someone has questions about virtual design?
Oh, yeah. I absolutely would love to help anyone that wants to start adding a virtual design practice or offer it to their business. Call me. I really would love to help you because it's a lot easier than you think. And my process is proven and trusted, but that's my process. And I think that my process everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
People might be like, you know what, I want to offer 3D boards, or I want to do like a floor plan. I mean, there's stuff that people can add in that I don't, because I don't want to do a floor plan. I don't want to do 3D. I don't want to be on a computer all day because I don't like to do that. But someone might like to do that. So I will really help you find your voice as an artist, as a creator, as a designer, and how and what can you offer to people to make money, to feel fulfilled, and most importantly, to help somebody.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is. We're helping people live better through design, right?
Right. Great. So good. So what can people reach out to you? Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, so I've started that. I'm trying to up those followers. That's advice on that. So yeah, you can find me at Home Styling by Alexis on Instagram. And my website, just straight up homestylingbyalexis.com. And that's it. Those are the two places you can find me.
Great. We'll include that in the show notes. But thank you for all of your great insight for virtual design. I really enjoyed hearing about your process and like using your life path to inform your current offerings that you have for your clients, like really honing in on offering affordable design because you had to be scrappy when you were a production designer. And now you can just apply those skills for your clients. That's great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can I give a couple? I would really just love to give some fun suggestions for anyone that's starting out, because I know what that feels like, and I have been in those shoes. And so I had no problem doing some free clients. First of all, as a designer, I'll put it all on me. Like I needed to show people my work. Well, how am I body of work if I'm charging really high numbers? Because I know I'm worth it. I know I'm talented enough, but I have no pictures. What am I going to do? Oh, trust me, I'm good. Trust me. Like, I don't think so, lady. So I had no problem. Can I do you for free? Or I do little vignettes in my own home. I would put like a chair in a corner with a little round table and a little plant or faux plant or something, or a book and like a pen on a diagonal, just anything to show my vibe and what I really loved. And what happened with those free clients, not only did I get hundreds of photos that I was able to edit and make look even better with color timing and like how we all love to change our pictures. But that was just so amazing. Those clients ended up telling people about me, and then those clients paid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't for nothing. I think, when you're starting out, I'm not saying do everything for free, but I'd do a few for free. I would, unless you already have a book. If you have a full book, then go ahead, start charging right away. You should be. But if you're really new and you're kind of doing another career and you're like wanting to tiptoe in this, that's another way to know if you're even going to like it. Go to a neighbor's house, go on Nextdoor, be like, hey, I'm thinking about being a designer. I want to design somebody's dining space. Is anyone, I'll do it for free or for gas, like to get back and forth, something so minimal. That will give you all the information you need in terms of, do I like to be in someone's house? Do I like to drive to them? Would I prefer to just do virtual? How do I interact? I should have brought tools. I didn't bring a measuring tape. You'll learn the things that you wish you would have done versus what you did. So doing is the only way for me that I was able to learn. So I would just start to put yourself out there. Get the wrong name if you have the wrong name. It doesn't matter. It all falls into place in the right time as it should. But nothing happens for me just by sitting there and thinking about it. I had to take the next step.
Yeah, really good advice. Well, thank you so much, Alexis, for coming on. It's a joy talking with you.
Thank you. It was so fun. Have me anytime. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
So how interesting was that? I think it was great perspective of having worked on films and TV, that she was able to use those skills and transfer it to some e-design and helping people who want to have a great looking space but maybe can't afford the high-end designer. And so this e-design is a great solution for that. If that's something that sparks your interest, feel free to reach out to her. We'll put her contact information in our show notes, as well as all the other great links that you're going to want to find about the show and about all the other offerings that I have. So don't forget to leave me a rating and review. I love to get those reviews from you, and we'll frequently read your review out here on the podcast. So if you want me to read your review, then leave me one. And so I hope you guys have a great week. Stay tuned for next week, another great episode. And then we'll get into our summer series. So we'll talk to you next time. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.